I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, it's into our busy spring market now for Vancouver real estate. You know, multiple offers now are pretty prevalent. They've been prevalent in the detached market since early last year. Townhouses for sure, multiple offers, and now since January of this year, a lot of the good one-bedroom, two-bedroom condos being listed now, as long as the strat is in good order, good location, good unit, priced right, you're probably going to be getting into multiple offers on those as well. So time for a blog. I've done a few of these over the years, but I haven't done one for a while because, you know, condo market has been more balanced here the last couple of years. We didn't have to get into multiple offers, but it's time to do a blog here on dealing with multiple offers and how to improve your chances. So give you a few tips here on how I kind of handle. I'm not going to give away all my secrets. When I'm representing buyers, I've got certain things that I do that unfortunately I'm not going to give to you. This has taken me years and years to develop and fine tune to help give my buyers a little bit better chance. Sometimes it works, sometimes I'm able to get the unit in multiple offers, but I lose on lots of them too. But you know, so far this year I've probably been in at least 15 multiple offer situations, both on the listing side and on the buying side. On the buying side, I've lost out probably on at least 3 or 4 so far this year, but I usually tend to win more than I lose, which is good. But it's tough out there in multiple offers. So let me just give you a few ideas here. So first off, all realtors work completely different when it comes to multiple offers. When I'm on the receiving end of my listings and I put up a condo out, everything I'm listing now, of course, if the realtor's doing their job, they're listing it, showing it for a full week, and then looking at offers the following week. I've done many blogs on holdbacks, why it's always in the seller's best interest to fully expose the property. But hey, sometimes you can buy properties with 1 or 2 or 3 days on market. I blogged about it last month, how I was able to buy several downtown Vancouver condos with quick, what we call kind of bully offers. Give them a good offer, work with our offer before we hit offer night the following week. Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't. With my listings, I never take bully offers. I will always expose the home. If you're interested in buying it, I appreciate the offer. I'll send it to my seller, but we're not going to address it. Offer night is next Tuesday. And every time that bully offer is back next Tuesday. They'll tell you that's why they're giving you the bully offer, because we're not going to be around next week. They'll always be around next week. Different realtors handle it differently. When I'm on the listing side, for most of the time, I tell my potential buyers, I say, listen, offer night's in at 5. They'll all check in periodically up until the deadline. Let's say I'm going to have 7 offers. I will tell these realtors that, listen, how I'm going to work here is you've got one shot at it. Take your best shot. You've got pretty steep competition. It's you and 6 other offers. Bring me your best offer, because I may not give you a second chance with this. Other realtors, though, there are other realtors that will say, hey, you know, yeah, throw an offer in. I always ask, you know, how are you going to handle these offers? And oftentimes these guys will say, yeah, well, we're probably going to take this first round, and yeah, you'll get a second chance. I'm going to have everyone revise. Some do that. But it's important that your realtor know how this listing realtor is going to work it. And it can get wishy-washy. A lot of the times I can't get a straight answer. But I always ask, I want to know as much as I can, how are you going to handle these offers? I know it's my offer and 4 others. Are you going to give us all a second chance? Is that how you're going to work? With me, as I say, I don't. I tell people to bring me your best offer. You consider yourself to only have one shot at it. Take your best shot. However, in many cases, if we've got a couple of offers that are very close, they're both subject free, let's say, or 3 of them are subject free, and they're within a few $1,000s each other, which happens a lot, then yeah, I will give them an opportunity to revise their offer. I will call them back and say, appreciate the offer. It's between you and 1 or 2 other parties. I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk to your buyer, and if you'd like to revise the offer, please do. And that can start a second round of offers. The other ones, you tell them, thanks for your offer, but we're working with other ones. So when you're into a strong market like we are now, and if you're getting into some stiff competition where it's you and 6 or 7 or 8 other offers, I've talked about this many times, the power of subject-free offer. And I can tell you that you pretty much have to be going in subject free these days. And not everyone is up for this, and I don't blame them. Coming in subject free, there is some risk to the buyer, but you can mitigate it a great deal. And the other thing I tell people, I mean, we're not there yet, but back in 2017, 2016, 2017, early 2018, I'm not here quite yet, but in some cases now, I will not take on buyers unless you're willing to go subject free. And we're not there yet, but we might be getting there later this spring. And the reason for that is that, Mr. Buyer, you're not going to have a hope when you're competing against 6, 7, 8 other offers coming in with a subject to financing, a subject to a home inspection, reading all the strata documents in 8 or 9 day subject removal. Because when you've got 8 or 9 other offers, or even if you've got even 4 other offers you're competing against, you better believe that 1 or 2 of those are going to be subject free. And let's say it's a $700,000 condo. A $700,000 condo, a subject free offer is buying that buyer about $10,000 in purchasing power. What I mean by that is, if you had 2 offers, one at 710 with subjects and the other one at 700 subject free, chances are that seller, if it was my seller, we are going to take the 700,000 subject free. So that buyer just bought himself an extra 10K. And the reason for that is simple. When you take a subject free offer, especially in this market with all the demand and everything else, you are taking the home off the market for 7 or 8 days, and you're basically on pins and needles hoping that this buyer can remove subjects. And if they can't, now you're back to square one and you've lost all your marketing momentum. So it's a huge advantage coming in subject free. Now, I'm not going to go too much more deeper into this, but there are ways we can mitigate the risk to you. A, we're going to get all the strata documents up front anyways. Depreciation report, all that stuff we can read before we offer. The second thing is you should be pre-approved. The biggest risk here is that you buy the condo for $20,000 over asking, the bank does an appraisal and says, hey, we don't think it's worth $730, we think it's worth $720. If that's the case, which almost never, rarely happens, then you're going to need to kick in another $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 down. So leave yourself a little bit of a buffer there. But I can tell you, even back in the roaring days when I was getting 20 offers on a 1-bed, listed for $650 and selling them for $730, we're talking $80K over ask. Even then, these units all appraised out. So very rare that you don't appraise it out. But for that reason, leave a little bit of a buffer just in case the bank says, hey, it didn't appraise it what you paid for it. You need to kick in another $5K to make this deal happen. The other thing, of course, is working with an experienced realtor. If you're on the buying side and you're in a hot market like this and you're offering in multiple offers, boy, the realtor makes a big difference here. Having a realtor that knows these stratas, a lot of the stratas I'm continuously buying into and representing my clients, I've already had lots of sales in that building. A lot of times I've had a sale within the last 6, 8, 10 months. A lot of the times my previous buyer got a home inspection done. Now I'm not able to share this home inspection with my new buyer. That's proprietary to that buyer that paid for it. But of course I've read these inspection reports and I can at least highlight some of the things that were brought up in the inspection on the overall building. If they're able to get up on the roof or the parkade and the membranes and the exterior and the windows and all that stuff. So that's why it pays to have a realtor who's experienced in this. The other thing, of course, is to have a realtor who is going to do the due diligence. You really want to feel out that listing realtor. How are you going to handle these offers? Are you going to take the best offer and we've got one shot at it? Or are you going to just do a second round of bidding no matter what the offers come in? Tell everyone to revise instead of just the top 2 or 3. So you want to know this stuff. And I admit not all the time I can even get it. A lot of the times the listing realtor is kind of wishy-washy on the whole thing. So if that's the case and we're competing against 7 or 8 other offers, I'm going to be having my buyers come in subject free, come in strong, take your best shot at it, and maybe leave a little bit of dry powder just in case they do come back to us and say, hey, it's between you and one other party. Do you want to revise? Remember, on the revising thing, and this is the crazy thing with bidding multiple offers, you don't know what you're bidding against. I've had many times on the listing side where I've had 2 2 or 3 strong offers, subject free, all very close. I go back to all 3. The 2 lower ones, or the 2 that are in position 2 and 3, stay put. The best offer revises up $5K. So essentially he outbid himself. This is what happens in multiple offers. And that's why, it's not fun being a buyer when you're in multiple offers, that's for sure. It's great for the seller. And that's why in some cases too, I even tell people, in some cases, there are some units out there that are overpriced right now. They've been on the market for 2 or 3 weeks. Sometimes it can make sense to go after one of those units. Even though it's overpriced, throw in an offer. Let's see if we can grind out a price here, below asking price, of course. One of the big advantages there is we don't have to get into a bidding war and don't have to go over asking price and go in subject free. We can, negotiate a deal here with subjects. So sometimes it can pay to pivot off to some of those as well. Last couple things I'll say here. To strengthen your offer, always helps to get a bank draft attached to your offer if it's subject free, which is, again, unless you want to grossly overpay for the home, and you're going to have to really tempt that seller with a crazy high offer to entice them to take your offer with subjects. But on the subject-free offers, just little things that go a long way. A copy of the bank draft, that can be done way before you even start, offering on a specific home. If you're looking in the $700,000 range, get a bank draft done for $35,000, take a photo of it and send it to your realtor. It's just a photocopy. And then with any subject-free offers, attach a copy of that bank draft. It's a little thing. It's not going to make a huge difference, but it could be between your offer, subject-free at that price, and another offer with a bank draft. That might be just enough to put it over the top. Another thing that I see quite a bit now, and I tell you, I think it's good. I will get people, realtors, I'm on the listing side, that will send me an offer with a little bit of a bio, a cover letter on their buyers. And it'll be a photo with them and their little baby or their dog, and just a little bit about them, where they work, they love the home, they work in the neighborhood, why they like your home so much. Hey, for some of my sellers, it doesn't have much of an impact. They're, very number-oriented, analytical. It's all about the number, the price, and the dates and everything else. But hey, it can have that little extra touch can put it over the top. I have many sellers that look at that, and I've just had it recently with a townhouse I sold. Very close offers. One had a really nice cover letter, how they had been looking for a while, had been beaten out on other offers. They ended up getting the unit. It was just that extra little touch. So not a bad idea to do that. Final thing I'll say is stay the course, don't give up. In this market, I see so many people commenting, I've lost out on 3 or 4 homes. I'm thinking about taking a break. You can. I would advise you to stay the course. It's tough. I think my record for a buyer that I represented, I think was 6. We lost out on 6 homes and we were writing subject free. And we finally got the 7th. That's my record, but I've had many that we've lost out on 2 or 3 homes before we were able to get one. I would stay the course, but again, make sure you're working with your realtor here, doing everything you can to strengthen your offer. The first thing for sure is going to be subject free. I know it hurts, but there are ways you're going to get all the docs. The inspection is fairly superficial anyways on condos. The docs will tell you the real story, and make sure your financing is secured. Especially if you're buying a 4, 5, 6-year-old condo. It's still under warranty. So, there's not a ton of risk there. The biggest one, though, is the financing clause. Come in subject free. Have a bank draft attached. Maybe a cover letter or a little story about who you are as the buyer. And then stick with it. You're going to get beaten out. But there's always another one around the corner, maybe even a better one than the one you just lost out on. In my experience, most people are happy that they saw it through, got beaten up a few times, lost out, but they stayed disciplined with it, worked with their realtor, and eventually they ended up getting a good house. They look back on it 5 years from now and thinking, God, I'm glad we saw it through. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, I'll see you next week.